Hello, everyone. Welcome to Symbaroum on Telling Tales. It's what we do on Wednesday nights, playing through the very long, very in-depth Throne of Thorns campaign from Fria Ligan. We're on to The Darkest Star, which is the third installment out of the 6 main arcs. So in some ways, we're approaching the middle, but it also definitely feels like we've got a long, long way to go yet. The usual nonsense streaming business. Check down below for a bunch of links. They're the kind of thing you might imagine them to be. At the moment, we are sort of running two regular games. Wednesdays is Symbaroum. Mondays is Masks of Nyarlathotep, the great classic Call of Cthulhu campaign. Although I believe Masks is off for the next 2 weeks, and then maybe picks up for 1 or 2 sessions mid-December, and then we'll probably take a festive break. So it's fairly traditional on Telling Tales that December and January are pretty fucked. He said, immediately swearing in the first 10 minutes of a YouTube stream. So that one's demonetized. So be aware that we're a bit off and on at the moment, as most people are at this time of year. That's about it, I reckon. So let's start wheeling on the real stars of this campaign, the players. We haven't got Chris tonight, unfortunately. He should be back with us next week, we hope. But in place of Chris's almost traditional first appearance on stream, we've got John. Hello, John. John plays Sir Arindar, whose art I'm sure will be popping up any second now.
Yes.
Arindar is a sort of noble-born orphan turned adventuring duelist type person. I say that, but have you actually dueled anyone? I just say that because that's kind of like your fighting style. But have you ever actually dueled anyone in the campaign?
I mean, his archetype, like in the, I think we used the advanced player thing, is duelist, but I don't think I've encountered an enemy honorable enough to duel. They're usually slightly more interested in like just sort of hitting me with a big hammer or
maybe
something.
I vaguely get the idea that one of the Black Cloaks in Ravenna, in like the Church of the Many, you had a kind of like standoff with them, and they were kind of like also using feint and stuff like that. So that was kind of a duel, I guess.
Yeah.
A lot of the Black Cloaks are quite dually, right? They have sabers, and so maybe that counts. Maybe. Well, our next player for the evening, it is Stephen, and that means it is Elindra, former Templar novice turned sellsword and sort of querier of life's purpose in the face of vaguely spiraling faith. How are you tonight, and how is Elindra doing in the face of a destroyed Cathedral of Martyrs?
I am fine. Elindra, I don't think Elindra's had time to process anything. I think we're all still very much in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. So she would no doubt have some kind of existential crisis within the next few sessions, but
won't we all?
Yeah, sure. But she's kind of busy right now. So
yeah, occupied, certainly. Yeah. Another individual who's occupied is Askarai, as played by Sam, our changeling scout and archer. That made it sound like Sam is our changeling scout and archer. Maybe he is. Maybe I have no evidence that Sam is not some kind of skin changer. But
could be.
Could be. Finally revealed here on stream. So there we go.
Of changelings or me being a changeling? I guess both.
Well, I mean, one would entail the other, I suppose. But unless there's changelings all over, and just one of those like a kind of reversed Mandela effect. Okay. Like there are changelings everywhere, but I just don't know.
You somehow avoided them your whole life. Everyone else knows about changelings.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like the kind of thing that would happen to me, to be honest. So we'll see if that is revealed later on in the stream. Okay, So to give a little bit of a background, we're doing pretty light recaps these days, but essentially our adventurers find themselves in the capital of Ambria, Indaros, conducting a sort of loose investigation into the ruins under the city to try and further their breadcrumbs towards finding the fabled lost settlement of Symbar. When in the middle of an interview with one of their contacts, the Cathedral of Martyrs nearby was struck and kind of not leveled, but certainly heavily damaged and partially destroyed by a flurry of meteors, which is not a normal thing to happen by and large. You went to investigate the location, partially out of general humanitarian goodwill, and partially because a wedding rehearsal was currently underway at which the Queen may be attending. And there was a certain amount of patriotism in there, but also perhaps the more cynical members of you, a certain amount of maybe if we rescue the Queen, we're in the Queen's good graces. I wouldn't pretend to postulate on what your motivations might be at this stage. You entered the dust cloud surrounding the sort of impact on the cathedral. You encountered a strange zone of sort of elevated corruption. As well as individuals who seem to have been possessed by fire elementals, fire spirits of some kind, and have now proceeded to near the doorway, the kind of opening to the Cathedral of Martyrs, where your party is sort of split into two, some protecting a group of nearby unfortunate children from a number of fire-possessed horses, the two survivors of which are now charging at your line. And the others of you, I think just Alindra and Revelia, although I could be wrong, have headed over to where a odd giant figure wielding a huge blade seems to be gaining the edge in a conflict with as you approached, you saw was the head of the Ordo Magica, Grandmaster Seldonio, who you've encountered once before. He does not look to be doing too well. But before we dwell on the giant and the mage, we've still got the banners for the horses. So let's just wrap that one up, shall we? So the people involved on that side are Arendar, Askarai, Antom, and Steo. This is something I should have asked my players before we started, really. Does anyone have Steo's character sheet? I'm
just looking for it now.
I have a vague notion that we did have a relatively recent one. But I couldn't say it for sure. So, yeah. I mean, he's at the end of the initiative order anyway, so it might not be too important, especially since Askarai is going to get some shots off before. So who knows? There might not be any horses to deal with by the time we get to Steo.
They're quite tanky horses, but
tanky horses. Okay, I'll pop the banner up now. Let's just start going while John has a look around for Steo's sheet a bit more. Okay, so this is the turn they're going to reach your line. Right, they're going to kind of impact on you. I think I already said as well that because they're like charging horses that don't seem to have any sense of well-being, that I'm not going to let. You can have long attacks, but you can't have like push away. Right, you can't fend them off you with long. I mean, that only affects Steo, so we'll see if it comes to that. But Askarai, there are two horses, neither of them wounded, that are bearing down on you with glowing orange eyes and the kind of flicker of flame across their haunches and kind of lightly billowing from their noses and mouths. Arrows?
Yeah, seems like a good plan. I will set one of them as my hunter's instinct target to give me a couple tries.
Mm-hmm.
And I will shoot at it. I think I'm not going to worry about armor piercing, so I'm going to take 2 shots.
Sure, that makes sense. I just had a die fall out of my dice bag, and it has now just completely vanished. Yes, it is a mystery. I heard it fall out, and now there is nothing there. Okay, that's fine, I guess. I was just going to generate where those horses are kind of directing themselves towards. And I'm actually going to say, I'm going to give you double Ascarai because you've been firing arrows at them. One of them is charging directly towards Arindar, and the other one is charging towards Anton. So probably not people you particularly wanted them to charge at, particularly Anton, but there we go. Nevertheless, Ascarai, give me your attacks then. Their defense is a -3.
Okay. That's a 13, which just hits.
Nice.
And the damage is a D10 and a D4 plus 1, which is not very much. 6 on the first shot.
6, you say? Okay, well, with a 6 there, oh yeah, that really isn't much. Unfortunately, your arrow grazes off the hide of one of them. It seems to have been mostly combusted with the sort of translucent flame surrounding them.
Okay, I'll try again. That is a
Found
12.
the die.
Nice. And damage is better. Oh, the damage is a lot better. 14.
That damage is indeed a lot better. So that takes you to 9. That takes you to 9 damage on them, which is over their pain threshold. Would you like to knock them down, or would you like to take another shot at them? And they're still going as fast as they were last time.
Yeah,
and I think last time I gave them like a quick roll to see if they just basically wipe out. So it's up to you which you want to do.
I'm definitely going to knock it down. I feel like that is the most sensible.
Then I will give them a quick roll, and if they fail the quick roll, the horse is not getting back up. I think that's fair. They did not fail the quick roll, so instead the horse kind of like tumbles onto its side on the ground. So it is prone, and it will take its turn to get back up, but not dead. Do you think you'd have been firing towards the one charging at Arindar or the one charging at Father Anton?
Probably the one charging at Anton.
Probably the case, isn't it? Probably the case. Looks what we have found a Steo sheet. Yeah, from June. That's probably close enough, I think. I don't think he's bought anything too big since then. I imagine... check the XP since he's bought 1 mastery since I think it was the top level of Steadfast. That sounded about right.
Does it have his mentioning it?
It may also not have his novice law master on. I don't know how long ago he bought that. Okay. Yeah. Mastery of Steadfast. Yeah, that's what he bought. Cool. Great. We've got that. Do you want to play him then, John?
Yeah, I can do that.
We'll have Sam playing Anton, and obviously Revelia is always Stephen. What's Farron doing? Oh, did we say Farron's not involved in this because
he's
botched
wheeling around and coming back?
Yeah. Okay. In which case, we do have an attack from a fire-possessed horse on Arindar. So, Aaron, can you, as this beast bears down on you with a thundering of hooves and a roaring of flame, can you please roll a defense? And it's just a flat defense.
I can, though I seem to remember last time saying that I was hiding behind Steo. Because I was hiding behind the person with the long weapon for the cavalry charge.
All right, that's perfectly fine then. Then why don't you, the first thing you do then is roll an attack from Steo at -3.
Okay. Why has he not written? Okay, just an accurate -3, 12.
Yeah, he just uses accurate.
That is a success.
Okay, then do you want to roll me damage?
1. And that is a D10 plus 1.
For precise, right?
Yes, 4.
Okay. His spear tip grazes across flames on the flanks of the horse and doesn't seem to penetrate. In that case, can Steo give me a defense roll at just a flat defense roll, please?
Yes. 10. Ooh. Success.
Okay. Steo manages to kind of successfully step aside from the horse's charge, so it has to kind of like come to quite a quick stop and sort of wheel round, braying with a strange, unnatural noise as it sort of tries to clip him with its hooves, but doesn't succeed. I would say if you're lurking behind him, though, I think you're already engaged. I think it's big, and he's stepped to one side, and it's just come through and is now in front of you as well. And it's your turn. So,
fantastic.
And you can actually know, I think the horse is big enough that I'm going to count 2 people as not flanking. I think you need 3 people to flank.
Sounds right.
So if you're attacking, that's at a -3, please.
-3, target of 13. Success.
Okay.
It's a D12. Also, as a note, I'm not using my dice tray because I left it in another room. So if my dice are too loud, let me know.
Will do.
9.
9 damage.
Yep.
Okay. You managed to sink your blade into kind of like the rear haunches of the beast, and normally this would send a horse squealing and screaming and running away as fast as its hooves could take it. This one, however, it seems only intent on setting you on fire or possibly, pummeling you into the cobblestones, or both, preferably. Are you going to do anything with your movement action?
No.
Okay, then let's have another attack from Steo, please.
Okay. Just because I was busy reading Steo's sheet, did the one that was attacking Anton have a turn?
No, it's prone.
Okay, good.
Ascarai downed it.
So, target of 10. No, target of 11. That's a miss. Miss from Steo.
Miss from Steo. Okay. That certainly simplifies things a little bit. So, Anton, Sam, what would you like Father Anton to do?
Are the kids? Where are the kids in all this?
The kids have fled kind of behind. Anton kind of made sure he's like stood it. The horses aren't coming for the kids now, but Anton still kind of like stood with the. But they've carried on running. They've vanished off through the dust cloud. You think they've probably left the vicinity of the cathedral right now, or at least are doing so.
Okay, relatively safe. I think Anton was probably going to Blessed Shield. He likes to do it, and it was good against the fire stuff.
He does like to do it.
So maybe he'd Blessed Shield. Does he have to do? He has to do himself.
He has to do himself, and then one other person. And I think the next level up, in mastery, lets him do himself and 2 other people.
Okay. Well, then he'd probably do himself and Aaron, I guess.
That seems to make sense. So give us that resolute roll.
Okay.
And then don't forget, it'll be 1d4 corruption.
Yes. Or does he have the thing which is like... Oh, no, it's like... I don't know. I thought he maybe had a thing where he only took 1.
He does, but you're in the area that the meteorites have landed in seems to have that elevated corruption. So every time someone uses something with corruption, the cost goes up 1 die level, which for him was 1 and is now a d4.
Okay. I'm not going to blame Anton for this, rolled a 19, so he does not succeed in any case. I guess he would probably walk towards the melee with this one existing horse.
Kind of go to join the melee. He could definitely move into like charge and go into the melee with it. Obviously, he can't.
Yeah, it might help for flanking and stuff.
It does help for flanking. It definitely helps for flanking. So yeah, okay. Aaron, you become aware of Father Anton kind of like yelling out his battle prayer, and kind of like you can sense his presence like at the other side of the rear of the horse, kind of like wailing away with his flail at it. Ascarai, we're back to you again. Do you want to take a shot at the downed horse? The downed horse has now got back. Actually, I'm going to say a horse takes 2 turns to get back up.
Okay.
Rather than 1.
Does that make it harder to hit?
Horses get back up. Yeah, because I'd say it still counts as prone, so you can take a fire with an advantage on it.
Okay, better to hit. Okay, I'm going to take 2 shots at it again, not armor piercing, just normal.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one I rolled 10 for the hit, and then the damage is a...
And don't forget to add a d4 to the damage, because you're at advantage.
Okay. Another d4. So wait, I'm already adding a d4. I'm trying to figure out if that is because I get advantage from something. No, I think it's because from my hunter's instinct. Okay, so I had 7 plus 3, so 10 damage.
Yeah, your arrow pierces the horse's neck as it's trying to kind of flounder back to its back up to its legs, and it crashes back down on the cobblestones, kind of neighing in distress and with a great gout of blood soaking the stones beneath it.
Yeesh.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not as easy to knock horses out, right?
Yeah.
We can still try and do it. You can all still try and do it. It's just how did we do it with the others? Did we have to go over their pain threshold or something?
I think so. Or was it like
that?
I can't remember.
We agreed on a very elegant way, and now I can't remember what it was. If you can remember what it was, put it in chat.
I think it was over their pain threshold and knock them prone, but that also had a chance of killing them or something. I don't remember.
I think you had to go over their pain threshold. You had to declare that you were doing it, and then it had to go over the pain threshold. I think that sounds right to me. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, irrelevant for this. Farron is still running around. The fire-possessed horse is going to try and strike the person who actually dealt some damage to it. So he's going to try and strike Arendar. So give me a flat defense roll, please, Arendar.
Okay. I'm rolling against a 15 instead of my usual 14 because I raised my quick attribute.
Nice, yes.
That is a success with a 12.
Okay, which means you get a hit back, right?
Yes. So roll to hit
Mm-hmm.
with a 1.
Okay. So that is a perfect hit.
Come on, just give me an extra d4 or a d6.
It gives you an extra d6.
All right. So 12 and a 6. And a 12. 12 total.
12 total. Okay. That does not go over its pain threshold, but it does do quite a bit of damage. Yeah, you kind of drive your blade deep into its belly, and it gives a kind of pained cry, and you see kind of flames and odd orange light flickering around the edge of its mouth as it does so, but it doesn't seem intent on stopping the fight just yet. And it's your turn, Aaron. Time for the coup de grace, perhaps? Yeah, Rana Dandra thinks it was just pain threshold. I agree. I think it was just pain threshold. But obviously, the bigger something is, the more difficult it is to do that. But that's right. The more difficult it is to knock something out. Like I think that's rational.
Must be tough to knock out a horse.
But it's probably very tough to knock out a horse.
Who knows?
It's tough to knock out a person. It's both easier and harder than you might imagine. Also, the concept of knocking out isn't actually very real.
I'm just going to roll to hit.
So -3. Actually, no, you're flanking now. So it's instead of a -3, it is at a -1.
That is still a miss. I rolled an 18.
Still a miss. Let's say like you had your blade still planted quite firmly in its side, and you kind of tried to pull it out for another thrust, but actually the horse kind of moved with you and ended up kind of knocking you back, not sprawling, but kind of staggering back in a position for which your follow-up thrust just missed wildly. Steo's turn.
Then I guess Steo will have the final blow. Maybe.
So this
hopefully.
is an attack at -1.
-1. Although
flank with Anton.
He triggered his elderly, didn't he? So it's actually a -2.
I honestly can't remember if his elderly procced or not.
I think I remember Chris complaining about it.
Yeah.
Okay, then it's a -2.
He's having an elderly.
I'll get 13. Fail.
This horse is distressed and thrashing out and is very difficult to strike. Does Father Anton want to take a go at it?
I guess he will. Why not? Okay.
So this is a -1.
Okay. He needs a 8 or less. He rolled a 19. But that is odd, so I think he still gets
he gets his
roll a d6 of damage. Which is a 1.
Okay. Yeah, Father Anton is just basically thrashing at its hindquarters in something that, again, if this was a normal horse, would definitely have caused it to move on. But nope.
I'm really capturing the spirit of Anton today.
Yeah. Ascarai. The way I have this pictured in my head is the three of them are kind of around in a semicircle. Actually, did I? No, I described like one of them in front and the other at the hindquarters. Basically, what I'm saying is if you fire into this, it will be, firing into melee. So it's up to you whether you want to do that. You can join as well. You can go and try and stab the thing.
Yeah, I think maybe I'll do that. Go and get my sword out and try and stab it.
That's fair enough. Then you probably leap into the fray near Father Anton and give me an attack at a -1, please.
Okay. I can do this with my discreet, so I need a 12 or less. That is a 13. Not quite.
Good Lord. This is becoming one of those combats. Okay, we're on to the good old fire-possessed horse again, and I see no reason why it would.
Would Farron have come round by now?
I think we said he would not take part in the fight because of your botch.
Oh, okay. I thought we were just like delayed him by a turn. I'm always fine with that.
Okay. I'd tell you what. I'll roll quick for him. You can roll quick from every turn until he turns up. Nope. Then no. I hope we don't go another round. But the fire-possessed horse would quite like to go another round with Arendar. So can you roll a flat defense, please, Arendar?
That's a fail.
Okay. Then roll your armor, please.
Okay. And it's just a d8 plus 1. Come on. 3.
Okay. It manages to catch you with a flailing hoof on your shoulder, which immediately hurts like Prios damned hell as you kind of like reel back with the breath knocked out of you for 3 toughness. And then could you please roll your armor divided by 2?
Okay. -3. And then armor divided by 2. So 3.
Okay, so I can't. Yeah, I was going to change my mind about this last time, but then people persuaded me not to, and by that I mean John. So can you roll 1d4, please, to see how long you're going to be on fire for?
I can, if I can remember where I put my d4. Oh, there it is. It was point-sized up, so I couldn't see it. 3.
Okay, so you've taken one of those, so your next 2 turns, unless you do something about it, you're going to be taking some fire damage, or potentially taking some fire damage. It's now your turn, though. So for a start, roll your armor and divide it by 2.
Oh, God. 4.
Okay, still no fire damage. That's just a patch of your scale is like smoldering away on your shoulder, but not really doing anything. You going to attack this horse?
I could stop, drop, and roll. I'm probably going to attack the horse.
Okay.
I'm going to try and attack the horse.
An attack at -1, please.
That is a success and 12 damage. No, 10 damage.
Okay. You manage to sink your blade into the horse's kind of shoulder, roughly where you think the lungs might be, and it gives a great roaring cough, staggers to one side, and then collapses on the cobbles. Well done. Your horse murder is complete. So, while this is going on, shall we hop back over here, please?
This is presumably happening simultaneously. So the longer it took the 4 of them to deal with those horses, the more Alindra and Revelia are going to be out on their own dealing with this chap.
Yeah, basically.
Cool.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think.
This is fine.
Sorry, I'm just reading all the extra,
All
abilities.
the extra what, Matt?
All the extra abilities.
I'll be honest. There is a fairly good chance that Alindra is at least is going to drop before this thing gets a chance to use many of its Wazzy powers. She's not in a good way.
Well,
oh god.
But, she's also a big combat idiot. So
yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, what are you doing? This being is standing over Seldonio and certainly seems intent on dropping its sword on his head. But I'm going to say if you wanted to charge into it and try and meet the blade, you could do so and try and stop it striking a killing blow.
Yeah, I think Alindra is going to be broadly aware that she's in bad shape. She's not wearing armor. Mm-hmm. And that the thing to do here is probably not to necessarily just try to kill this thing, but to try to stop it killing Saldonio. So I think, she wants to kind of intervene and try to hold it off for long enough for us to amass enough people that it rethinks its course of action.
Okay. In terms of actual, in-game mechanical stuff,
she wants to engage and try to block.
Cool. Okay, John. Could we have the initiative as follows, please? It's just Alindra and Revelia, and then you can list this creature as giant, and it has a quick of 7 and a vigilance of 13. So pretty much guaranteed to come last in that order, I think.
That's the same as Anton.
So, Ilindra's going to come first, right?
Oh, okay. So I was waiting for the there we go. Yeah. Right, so...
Oh, that is huge. Can we do something about that?
Poor Sam.
See. I don't know.
Just trying... Oh, no, not that.
Mm-mm.
That would just cover up Stephen then. We do that.
I'll do.
If it that'll do. There we go. That works anyway. Okay. You do long strikes, don't you?
That's correct.
Okay.
So I guess if we're starting from the point that she gets to kind of engage this guy, that will start with an attack. Yeah,
absolutely. Weirdly, its sword doesn't have long. And I would have thought it would, but I guess it's more of a choppy than a pokey. So maybe not so. So you can make an attack on the giant, please. I have some slightly recalculated stats here for various reasons. So let me just double check them. Yep, that works.
I hope you're adjusting in favour of the fact that Alindra just didn't fully get dressed this morning.
No, the opposite. So can you give me an attack roll at +1, please?
Sure thing. That's a hit.
Okay, and then a damage roll, please.
I think that Revenant Strike is not activated, right? I don't think.
I can't remember you having turned it on.
Because I think she's also standing in the ruins of the cathedral. So
she's standing in the ruins of the cathedral. It's the high corruption area, and I'm guessing you didn't do it with the fire possessed because you were like, fire against fire possessed seems like not a way to go.
Yeah, I think she's just got
a mystical fire, but still,
it's a bad idea to turn that on here.
Yeah, sure. So,
okay, so let's see. That is a 7 of damage.
Okay. Your blade thrusts out into the large form, and you feel the point catch on what feels like a kind of studded leather cuirass that is sat underneath those. You can see that those kind of ragged robes with a belt they're wearing. Underneath that, they have some kind of like tough leather with what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I really can't remember the word I'm looking for. My head wants to say buttons, but that's not true. Studs. Thank you, with kind of iron studs underneath it. You don't think you pierced it.
Great. Okay, so that was the initial attack, and now it's
your long attack.
Yeah. Cool. Let's go again. That is another hit. And for damage, that's slightly worse at 5.
Okay. Again, this time you try a draw cut and kind of swing your blade around to its unprotected arm and try and chop into it. But it jerks the arm back fast enough that you just catch its upper arm, which, again, is covered with this studded leather. What's Aurelia going to do?
Join in, I suppose. I mean, yeah, as I say, like tactically, the main thing is like that we're trying to just like defend Saldonio, give him an opportunity to get away or whatever. But mechanically, that's just we're in a fight, right? So
yeah.
So yeah, she's going to attack. She hits. She's D10 damage with the sword. 3.
Okay, yeah. Again, Revelia batters at this being, but doesn't seem to achieve very much. I think that this being is definitely going to consider you the primary aggressor. In which case, does their attack remain the same? I think their attack remains the same here. Yeah, it does. Stephen, could you roll a defense at -7 for me, please?
Holy moly. Okay, so let's see. That's basic maths. I've got defense 13, so -7's the
6.
6, yeah. That's a 12, so no.
Unless you want to burn for a reroll.
I really do, yeah, on this occasion, because there's no armor roll to follow this. That's another fail now, so that's just an XP down the toilet.
Well, if it cheers you to know that it would not have involved, your armor wouldn't have really helped out much anyway. Okay, what's your toughness on?
Currently, 11.
Okay, well, you just took 14 toughness.
Right.
So I'm going to say that you feel a searing pain through your neck and shoulder, and then find yourself... you're not entirely sure how you ended up on the cobblestones, but you are on them, and an awful lot of hot blood is flowing from your shoulder down your front along your arms, and you are very close to losing consciousness.
Yeah.
So there we go. Let's move round to the next round, and Elindra.
That's a death roll, right?
That is indeed a death roll. So just to remind everyone how this works, if you roll a 1, you recover and get up with 1d4 toughness and can act next round. 2 to 10 is no effect. 11 to 19, the third time this that range is rolled, you die. And 20 is an immediate death. There is no rerolls for death rolls, so here we go.
Let's do it. It's a 7, so no.
So that's currently no effect. So Elindra's still holding on, maybe not quite passing out on the ground. What is Revelia going to do?
Shit herself. I don't think she's going to see that she has any choice but to try to stand her ground here, right? Like she's got no healing. There's probably no way to extract Elindra. I think she's just going to have to stand and fight.
Stand over your body and try and...
Yes.
Yep, sure.
What's Saldonio doing over the last round? Is he...
from that position that he's in there, he has slowly collapsed over onto his side.
Okay, right. He's not in a position just to get up and run away. He's not that
No.
well. Okay. Cool.
So if Revelia is standing to try and protect you, then I guess make an attack roll at a +1.
Yeah, she gets a 1. She rolled a 1, so that's
obviously
good.
Heavily affected by you being cut down.
Yeah.
So then add a d6 to her damage roll, please.
Great. 10.
Okay. She, with a great cry, is she wielding her sword or her spear?
Sword and shield.
With a great cry, she shouts something that you really aren't in any full position to really hear, and leaps forward with a great thrust of her blade and plants it in the creature's hip, and then pulls back with an oddly coloured kind of like blue-green blood running down the blade. It is not a mighty blow, but it is a blow that has drawn blood. So, there we go. The giant's going to attack her. So,
I had a feeling it might do that.
Roll her defense at a -7, please.
-7. Revelia's defense is 15, so that's going to be an 8. We rolled a 15, so that is a fail. I'm gonna spend an XP on that as well.
Oh, of course, yeah, she gets her XP.
She also has a supply of XP, and also doesn't want to have to make an armor roll again. Well, fail to make an armor roll against this guy. That is another wasted XP. She gets hit.
Okay. She does have armor, right?
She does.
Right. Well, then its strike is going to ignore armor.
Cool.
And is going to deal 12 damage.
Wow. Okay, so that is over Revelia's pain threshold.
Is she going to choose to be knocked prone or take another hit?
She is going to choose to be knocked prone. She is on 1 toughness.
Yeah. So Revelia takes... I'm going to use some license here, and it's not as if it's an artifact of some kind. She raises her shield to defend from the giant's blow, and the blade crashes through the shield, almost severing her arm, and she collapses back on top of you, kind of moaning in semi-conscious pain. Stood over the top of you, the giant kind of looks down at your forms in kind of a measured, even-tempered fashion, and turns and starts to walk away. Does Revelia have any healing capability?
I don't think she does. I don't think she's got no skills in that direction, and I'm looking.
Does she have any herbal cures?
No, she doesn't have that on her.
Okay. Then
Elindra might.
Oh, if she could take it off Elindra, yeah.
Elindra has 2 herbal cures on her.
Okay. Then I'm trying to work out a way which I don't have to ask you for another death roll, but I think in all simulation-y consciousness, I think I have to ask you for another one while she's getting the herbal cure off your body and desperately trying to apply to you with one arm.
Yeah, no, I think that's an entirely legit thing. Okay,
so let's have another death roll, please. I'm afraid for Elindra.
That's a 13.
Okay, so that's 1 tally, but as you are starting to sort of slip out of consciousness, you feel the not so tender, not so competent ministrations of Revelia on you, and you kind of feel the pulse of blood down onto your abdomen and torso, kind of slow, not really stop, but slow. Gain 1 toughness.
Right.
And I think Revelia will basically be desperately trying to keep you alive until, I'm assuming, that the others will want to come join you.
Yeah, I don't think either of them are moving in any significant way.
No. As you've obviously finished off those horses, the children are nowhere to be seen. Arindar, Askarine, Antom, and Ferren. You have probably at least glimpsed the state of what's happening over there. Maybe because it was mid-fight, perhaps not in great detail. But as you eliminate the horses, you do look over and see where once there was what looked to be a giant fighting a man in a robe. There is now a man in a robe and an Elindra and a Revelia all on the ground, and just kind of the shadow of a giant figure retreating into the dust.
Is the giant walking into the church or away from the church?
It seems to be walking, like, not entirely away from the church, but sort of in a rough away direction, yeah.
I think we would all sprint over towards Elindra and Revelia.
That's fair. I am going to say that, seeing the state of Elindra, Antom is going to brook no particular resistance this time, and is immediately going to kneel down next to Elindra and feed her a draught of the Water of Dusk. So can you mark 1 draft off, Sam, assuming he has some kind of like stuff that I don't know what the current count is, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if this character sheet is up to date enough to know. We haven't used one in a long time.
You haven't.
We've been saving them.
Yeah.
But there weren't that many.
We had 4 uses left, and now we have 3.
That sounds about right. And so, Stephen, roll a d10 for your healing, please.
Right. Wish me luck. 3.
Better than nothing.
Yeah.
Do we think that Anton may also now lay on hands or perform Medicus in addition to that?
Yeah, almost certainly.
Okay. Steo, can we have a tell you what, let's start with Medicus, because I feel like Anton might steer away from laying on hands right now because it will generate corruption.
True.
Arindar and Ascarai, can you both well, not Arindar and Ascarai, Anton and Steo, can you both give Medicus rolls? And I would imagine that they would use their herbal cures if they have them.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is presumably 1 each for Elindra and Revelia.
Yeah, I think that Anton is attending to Elindra and Steo to Revelia.
Sounds about right.
Steo failed. Does that mean Revelia still gets like the base?
The one for a herbal cure, yeah.
Okay.
And Tom also failed, but still also 1 from herbal cures.
Okay, I think with that in mind, Anton might risk laying on hands. What was his corruption from the Blessed Shield?
Well, I didn't cast, so he didn't get any.
Oh, right, yeah.
So
I think he'd risk laying on hands. So.
I agree. Okay, I'll give that a go. That is a 1. Not that does anything, I don't think, but
nope.
And then it's a D6,
mm-hmm.
which is a 2. But...
Tell you what, I'm going to start implementing things for 1s and 20s a lot more, I think, just to vary things up. Have a reroll, and if it comes out higher, you can take the higher number.
Okay, nice. That's a 3.
One more.
Yeah.
Elindra, you feel the warmth suffusing through you from the Water of the Dusk and from Antom's hands, and presumably you're in a much fitter state to at least stand up.
Yes. Up to 7 toughness.
This is what Antom and Steo have been doing. Arendar and Askarai.
I think keeping a very close watch out for this giant coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I should note that there's someone else on the floor.
I was going to check the mage.
Okay, absolutely. Arendar, as you move to the older man slumped on the floor, there is a lot of blood soaked into his robes and on the cobbles underneath him. You can hear he's making some kind of noise, but you'll have to turn him over to kind of properly hear and get a good look at him, to be honest.
Aaron has no medicus, so he does not know that maybe turning over someone who's gravely wounded is not a great idea.
Sure.
He is going to do that, and he's also going to apply his only remaining herbal cure to wherever looks like the most bleeding.
Sure. As you turn him over, you see that his face and like the front of his torso are bruised horribly and kind of contused, and it like you can see broken ribs through like parts of the flesh of his chest that have been torn away. This isn't just wounds from us. Even you can tell this is not just wounds from the sword, although he certainly has a couple of very deep cuts as well. You would guess that he was in the cathedral when this happened. He kind of he looks in a very, very, very bad way, and kind of blinks and tries to focus his eyes on you. You're not sure whether there's a moment of recognition or not, but you do hear him say, "The prisoner, you must. Yes, he is free. You, the eternal night." He coughs and soaks the front of your scale with blood. His eyes are have kind of closed, but you can see that his chest is still kind of sort of moving in a rough staccato rhythm as he's just about still breathing.
Father Anton?
Anton leaps up and comes over and kind of like places his one hand on the back of Seldonia and one on the front. He kind of takes one look at the swiftly graying face and glances at you and sort of shakes his head, but then seems to start praying and focusing anyway. And you can feel like the warmth from his hand like radiating out over your arms as you're holding Seldonio, whose eyes open once again. Artel. It was Artel. His revenge. His face contorts with sorrow and his dying eyes fill with tears. Promise me. Find them. Stop them. Promise.
Master Seldonio, I promise we'll do all we can.
He reaches out and kind of clutches at your collar and sort of like, not to tug on it, but like just kind of gripping and says, my fault. He's gone.
I look at Anton.
Anton kind of is gently lowering him to the cobbles and closing his eyes. Ascarai, while that was happening, can I have a vigilance roll from you, please?
That is an 8, which makes it.
Okay. 2 things occur to you. One is that you're not sure, but you feel like a tall form in the ash cloud that is thinning out, but is still, it's thinning out as in you can see 20 feet away. But once you start going further than that, it still just shapes and blurs. You feel like a tall shape out there is now coming slowly closer again. And you can also hear what sounds to be a woman's voice crying out in pain from within the cathedral, the doors of which are now quite close to you.
Okay. I would let everyone know I think it's coming back, but there's someone alive in the cathedral. Maybe we should try and get inside.
I don't want to face that thing again.
Let's regroup inside. Do what we can for survivors.
What's Revelia's toughness on right now? Is it still just on 2?
Yes.
Okay. She is clutching like her shield arm, her left arm, that looks like it's not hanging on by a thread, but it's like it's still bleeding and kind of wrecked. There's no way she can hold her shield in that state. She looks to be taking a step forward to join you all in the cathedral. Are you going to let her do that?
I don't think Elindra's going to leave her standing out here, but so yes, like she can come, but like there's absolutely no way that Elindra intends for any of them to engage this giant.
Sure. In that case, as a group, you stand up and kind of leaving Seldonio's body on the square outside the entrance to the Cathedral of Martyrs. You dash in through, kind of up a set of quite grand steps and through a huge set of bound metal and wood doors that are now kind of like one of them is hanging off a hinge, and you find yourself in the interior of the cathedral. It, I mean, as one might imagine, is not in a good state. You can see the roof more clearly from the interior. It is there are colossal rents and gaps in it. Some of the remaining parts of the roof are kind of it looks like it's dripping away, but enough of the pieces are falling close to you with a loud crack that you realize that being underneath them would definitely not be the same as being under a flow of water. The interior is partially on fire. You can see ahead of you towards the middle of Cathedral, though not quite at the middle. In the middle is where the sort of altar is. And in front of that is a huge impact crater. Let me find a more precise description. As I mentioned earlier, the facade around the main entrance is almost unscathed, but one of its double doors has been blasted from its hinges and now covers much of the stairs. From the doorway, you can see parts of the ceiling and its arches still remain, though stone blocks of various size are constantly falling down. The furnishings are utterly destroyed, either hit in the attack or smashed by 2 giant chandeliers that crashed to the floor. The screams are coming from deeper inside, near the sun podium, which is about 70 meters from the opening. And in between you and there is a large, faintly glowing crater, although there is plenty of room on either side of the crater to not have to go through the crater. Yeah.
Wasn't this also the direction the giant went in, or was that somewhere else?
No, the giant was kind of roaming outside in the okay. Clouds of dust.
Cool. In my head, we were like essentially following the direction they walked off into.
No. It walked away from the cathedral. So,
I think maybe we'd try and find the woman we heard crying out.
I will shout out and say, "Hello, keep talking. We're on our way."
You hear she doesn't sound terribly coherent, but she seems to call out in a way that the cadence of which suggests that she is responding to you. She is definitely beyond this crater near the sun podium, from what you can tell. Is everyone moving forwards? The area between the sun podium and you has a lot of pieces of the roof dropping down.
Could we like skirt around the outside of the building to stay safer, or not really?
Not really. Parts near the walls are coming down as well. Like if you're going to have to do a bit of dodging, or at least be very cautious on the way there. Yeah.
Is the crater less full of, or like have less roof above it?
Not directly above it, no, because it'll have come in at an angle, right?
Okay, so that's
so actually the opening is further along from you.
Okay,
so it's
right,
come the meteor came towards where you are now, basically at an angle, and slammed into the ground about 70 meters in front of you.
Okay, I'm trying to work out whether it makes sense to try and do some kind of cunning or vigilant to see if one way around the crater is less collapsy than the other, perhaps. But
you don't think it makes much odds.
Okay.
Aaron's probably just gonna try and go for it.
Okay. Is anyone else just gonna go for it? I imagine Anton would.
Yeah, I think we'll stick together.
Okay. So I'm going to need a quick test from everyone.
I'm going to spend an XP.
Okay.
Because I'm not taking a 20 on that.
Can I spend one of Antom's XP?
Yeah, you can. If he's got XP logs, then yeah.
He rolled a 20, so.
Oh my god.
Lindra didn't roll a 20, but is also going to spend an XP.
Yeah.
Wow, and failed again. Okay, Revelia passed.
Aaron and Steo both failed.
And Antom also failed, but not for the 20.
Hell, did everyone fail? Ascarai passed. Okay. So I'm going to need it says this is one of those circumstances where it's like it does say I've been doing this recently where a lot of stuff where it says armor protects, I've been going, I think half armor protects, because I'm not sure how much armor would help you in that circumstance. And I'm afraid I'm going to go for it again. So here's that's actually quite a weird thing. Let me look at this. Oh no, it's to do variable. That's fine. Okay. All right, let's run through you one by one. So let's say that Anton is the first hit. Can you give me an armor roll for Anton divided by 2, please?
He only has a D4 to start with, but he was a 4, so 2.
Okay. A large chunk of brick drops and kind of slides down his robe and cracks open on the floor.
Okay.
So he got pretty lucky. Aaron Dar, why don't you give me an armor roll and divide it by 2, please?
2.
You hear a loud crack near you and are hit by a cascade of dust. Steo? Did Steo succeed? John?
Oh, yes. No, he did not. So D10. Wow. Two.
Okay, is that divided by 2?
Yeah.
Okay. As in, he rolled 4.
Yes.
Right. Okay. You hear a loud clang and a one of Stio's more vivid Prios-related epithets coming out from him as something strikes him. Can you take 3 toughness from him, please?
Yes.
We don't know what his toughness was, I guess, last time.
No.
So we're just going to have to work.
I remember he healed a bit before we went out.
He did heal a bit, but we'll just take it from the top. We don't have to get up to date, so that's fine.
I don't recall him being in a particularly bad way.
No.
No, not in a massively bad way, but there we go. Who's next, Alindra?
Yeah.
What's your toughness like?
7. What's it like now?
It's at 0.
Okay.
A large clump of plaster and bricks strikes Alindra, and she collapses to the ground with a cry.
How do we want to do death rolls?
I don't think we need to, because you're all close enough with each other. I think Anton is just going to make you drink more water of the dusk.
I mean, that seems fair.
Are we all moving together as a group?
I would assume so.
Could it
No
be?
one said they weren't.
I think I specifically said that we were. Like, I guess not super tight, but yeah, like together.
Why?
I'm wondering if you would allow Aaron to use the bodyguard ability to push Alindra out of the way and take it himself.
Yeah.
Okay. So I need to roll a resolute, which I assume is me being brave enough to take the damage.
Yeah, sure.
Resolute. My resolute's not great, but I succeed.
Okay. Then give me an armor roll. And divide it by 2.
Do we round up or down? I rolled 5.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
I think we've been rolling down.
I thought we said we rounded down, but you couldn't go to less than 1.
Well, you know what? I'm going to change it based on how I feel about the kind of damage that's being dealt. Let's round it up here, because I think armor is better against falling chunks of masonry than it is against fire.
In that case, 3.
Okay, then take 7 toughness.
Wow.
Okay. So I'm down.
I mean, you knew it was enough to down.
I know.
You knew it was at least 7.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Let's have all our party members
because of the armor as well, and I was like, oh, but no, I'm still. This is good. This is fine.
Okay, then Anton's going to give. We've done nothing.
Yes.
Then Anton is going to give you Water of the Dusk instead.
Aaron's been a big damn hero. It's fine.
Everything I've just said to do with Alindra just now applies to you instead. Roll a d10.
One.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
I think Alindra is just going to be faintly astonished that A, that Aaron did that, B, that Aaron got so badly hurt, and also just that Aaron was able to shove her. Like,
sure, yeah.
You're very injured.
You're pretty weak from blood loss. You're pretty weak from blood loss, none of which has stopped you going into this field of falling masonry. So, Revelia then.
She passed.
Did she make it? Okay, yeah. She made it. Maybe she's managing to hold her shield above her head. Okay, this brings you about halfway alongside the crater. So, let me tell you a bit more about what that looks like. It is located in the middle of the Sun Isle, roughly 20 meters in diameter and almost as wide as the central light yard, which is the main hall of the cathedral. The meteorite itself is the size of a troll's head and is smoldering visibly at the bottom. There is enough light from above filtered through the ash and dust to allow you to look down and see that there are openings in the side of the crater leading into what must have been catacombs or underground halls of some kind. Can all of you give me a vigilant roll, please?
Revelia failed. Alindra got a 1.
Oh.
Both Aaron and Steo passed.
Okay, then I guess everyone but Revelia notices that one of the openings down in the crater, there is a faint light coming from one of the openings.
It's another fucking sinkhole.
You can still hear cries ahead from near the sun podium. Are we carrying on? There is still falling masonry, so anyone who chooses to carry on is going to have to make another quick roll.
Astra will carry on, but maybe you guys could get down in the hole. Maybe that's safer. I'll try and bring this person in.
The hole would not be safer. The masonry is definitely falling over that as well.
Okay, then I think Astra will definitely carry on.
If anyone wanted to retreat, I wouldn't make them roll quick for going back the way you've come.
Aaron wants to go ahead. I think Steo might grab him by the collar and forcefully roll a medicus on him before we move any further. If it is a situation good.
Sure, you go ahead.
He fails.
Okay.
Aaron still
Jesus Christ, lads. Your rolls tonight are atrocious. Okay. Right. Is anyone not going ahead? You rolled particularly badly, Alindra. I will say that.
I don't think Alindra can watch everybody else press on ahead and not.
Fair enough. Okay. In that case, can everyone give me another quick roll, please? But you know what? I will give you a +2 on this because I feel like, you know,
you need it.
No, because you're leveling up at dodging the falling. You know what I mean? You've got the hang of where things are likely to fall now.
Revelia passes. Would you like to know what Alindra rolled?
Is it a 20? Would you like to spend an XP?
I mean, I suppose I didn't want to level up any skills anyway. It's fine. That's a pass.
Okay. So has everyone passed this time?
Astra and Anton both passed because of the +2.
Awesome. Okay. Then you make your way round the other side of this crater. As you approach the sun podium, the first corpse is coming to sight, only partially buried under the rubble. These are fairly well-dressed people. That much is evident at first glance. Are we stopping to examine them in any way? Or, doing so means you're in this kind of like debris field for longer. Or are we going straight to the sun podium?
It's not time for looting, is it?
Probably not right now.
Yeah, we got to get out of this falling roof.
Well, following the cries for help, you finally find a woman in her late 20s lying below the far edge of the sun podium. She is bleeding from her head, pale as a ghost, and worse still, one of her legs looks to have been at least partially crushed and trapped by a falling rock. Can all of you roll cunning, please? Ascarai take a -3 to it. Let's just have these players do it at first, not the extras. Arindar, you can take a +3 to it.
We both pass.
Lindra passed.
Okay.
Ascarai rolled a 3, which does pass.
Okay. In which case, I would say that Alindra and Ascarai recognize this woman from portraits and other representations. Arindar, you've probably seen her in the capital when you were younger. This is the Sun Duchess Esmeralda. And she does not look in a particularly good state. So please don't think she looks like this right now. But that is what Esmeralda looks like.
Can Alindra make some kind of strength test to see if she can move this rock off her? This mason?
you're going to need something to do that. If you're immediately thinking about that, I wouldn't mind you making a cunning roll. And I would also like a cunning roll from Steo and Anton, because they both have Lawmaster. In fact, I'll give them a +2 on their cunning rolls. Also, it appears we've lost Sam to some kind of like night spirit or something.
It's all gone a bit paranormal
activity. Yeah,
that's the one.
Will be missed. Lindra passes, and also Stephen is thinking about a lever because physics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is exactly what the suggestion would be. Sam has had a power cut, so that could be exciting. We will soldier on for a few minutes and see how it is. But this is all quite crucial stuff. So that we definitely don't want. And Sam is playing Ascarai and Anton. So we will soldier on for a bit, and then if Sam doesn't come back, we will soldier on for a further bit while not playing. Like, we'll just natter about Symbaroum or whatever, right? But if Sam's not back in like maybe 10, 20 minutes, we'll probably call it there. Because this is all crucial beginning of campaign stuff. We're already down to Chris. You know, that's just where my brain is at.
Yeah, he sounds optimistic.
He says the power is back already, so ignore everything I just said. Yes, well, the information I was going to give you, Stephen, is exactly what your brain has already given you, in that you need a lever of some kind. There are nearby very large crushed chandelier parts, and there are also, because this is a cathedral, lots of big rows of seating, right? Big rows of benches. You think if you find like a sturdy enough bench seat, you could probably try and wench it underneath, and you can't do it on your own, but you'll need people.
So it's not like a spear, it's a pew.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Lindra will start moving towards something that looks like it's a likely thing, and kind of look around and see if anybody wants to help.
Steo is going to jog over to you and kind of like just like hammer several big thumping kicks into the middle of this pew to kind of like splinter it down the middle, and like leans down to start wrenching the top of it out quite successfully. Especially if you join him, then he's definitely going to get it done. Okay, this can be wedged under the rock. The Duchess Esmeralda is kind of not really talking to any of you. She's kind of huffing in kind of pain, and like is kind of gripping herself. She's looking at what you're doing, and is kind of not. She's letting you do it, right? She's letting you get on with it, and seems to have committed herself that this is going to hurt like hell, more than it already is, and is just kind of focusing.
I will be at Lady Esmeralda's, like at her level and her side, and kind of partially using Ferren to distract her as much as we can. Don't look at what they're doing, look at us, kind of thing.
Sorry, carry on.
I was going to say, could I have, partially for my reference, could I have a reminder of Esmeralda's place in the family tree?
Esmeralda is Corinthia's younger sister.
Right. Is she also the
younger
bride?
By quite a way.
The bride-to-be, or
she is the bride-to-be at this wedding rehearsal? Yes.
We are absolutely getting her out of this place.
Yes.
Okay. And we have a Sam again. That was the briefest of power cuts. So there we go. Was it like a fuse or something, or did it actually just get a...
Yeah, it wasn't even like a fuse in my house. It was literally just, I don't know, just turned off and came back on again like 30 seconds later.
Enough. Great. And as Ranadandra has quite rightly pointed out in the chat, if you want her official title, she's the Archduchess of Cassandrian, which is the duchy to the west of Indarian, which is the duchy you're in right now. It is the capital is Agrella, which has a source book coming out soonish, unrelated to Throne of Thorns. So what's happened, Sam, is that we've got a big bit of pew, and we're going to try and lever this rock off the Duchess's leg. I would say that 5 individuals can help with this levering. And you rolled the cunning, Stephen. You think this should be done in one? Like you think as you want the strongest people doing this, because if it half goes off, it's going to roll back on.
Yeah,
and that's not good.
It's already going to hurt like hell. So Elindra's there, Revelia's there, who is also very strong, even though she's in a bad way.
Yep. Steo will definitely take part.
If I don't know whether Anton would feel inclined to try to do anything while the boulder's being moved, like.
What was on it?
What's because I think you went off before we asked for the cunning rolls, Sam. What's Steo's? What's Antom's cunning?
Let me check. His cunning is 11.
Just make a quick roll. Okay, he's failed that, so I'm not going to give a suggestion for him. But he would his inclination, if he's not needed to lift, and I imagine his strong is terrible, is to kneel down by the Duchess and try and do what he can about the wounds that aren't crushed by a rock. Doing so.
If it's not lay on hands, it's medicus, and it's
like, he's kind of attending to her. She's kind of acknowledging that he's there, but like still just kind of like focusing and bracing herself. So the other two people doing the lifting, I'm assuming, will be Arindar and Askarai.
Yeah, I mean Askarai also has terrible strength, but it's the same as Antom, so.
We say it's lifting, of course it's not. It's pulling down, isn't it? But pulling down in a coordinated fashion while hopefully pushing a little bit. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and tell you the mechanics of this because it's just a satisfying little mechanic. I've actually changed it from what it is in the book, which in the book you need everyone to succeed on a strength roll on a strong roll where strong totals more than 20, which seemed off to me. So what I've done with it is we need people who contribute a total of strong of over 20 to roll successes. Does that make sense?
Okay. So for everyone that succeeds, we add up their strength stat and it's
correct. With that in mind, let's just go ahead and start with the strongest, right? Which is Elindra.
Just a flat strength roll?
Just a flat strength roll.
Okay.
Oh, no, hang on. Sorry. Elindra, Revelia, Steo. Yeah, Aaron and Asker. Sorry, I was getting confused. Let's start with Elindra.
Okay, Elindra has strong of 15 and rolled a 9, so that's a success.
That's a very good start.
Revelia also has strength 15 and rolled 15.
So then you've got enough. But shall we, if everyone else rolls strong, we can see how impressive it was, shall we?
Let's.
So next up is Steo, target of Elderlisa 12. Rolled a 14, so that was a fail from him. But Aaron, target of 10. Rolled a 3.
Okay, so that adds up to 40, right? So that's twice what you needed. With a great heave, I'm going to say that Steo almost kind of like loses his grip on it and fumbles it a little bit. Askarai, you just kind of you feel like you're dangling from the thing, like you're not really contributing that much to it. But with a great heave, Elindra and Revelia and Arindar kind of like not yank it, but like press it down firmly and fast, and the rock tips up, teeters for just a second, and then rolls off the tumble a couple of steps down the sun podium. Esmeralda gives a kind of like gasp of, it is pain, it would still hurt, and like reels back a second, blinking furiously. Anton has kind of like cradled one arm around her shoulder and is kind of like resting his other on the shoulders closest to him, and is kind of like you actually can't hear what he's saying. It doesn't seem to be a prayer, it seems to be like words of reassurance. But yes, anyone with... can you give me both... I know what his cunning is now, it's 11. So, Aaron, can you give me a cunning roll for Steo, please? Okay. Anton kind of looks up at all of you stood there and says, I think we will save the leg, but we need to get her out of here now.
Elindra is going to step forward and pick her up.
Mm-hmm. You can absolutely do that. She kind of puts her arms around you and holds on tight and kind of gasps, thank you, Sunlight, thank you.
Is there any other exit out of this church?
You know what? There absolutely is. As you look around here now, you can see that it's actually to the south, but if you're looking towards the sun podium, it's to your left from where you're facing right now. You can see a large crack in the walls has opened up. It looks relatively stable. It's kind of got this drift of debris and dust over it, but it looks fairly stable and like you could probably scrabble through it and like jump the 5-6 feet down to where the square is.
Okay, I think Askra would start heading for that, but would also check as we're going if anyone else is like alive here, injured on the floor or kind of unconscious but alive around.
You can take a look around if you want. For every like roll of vigilant you could take to like stop and look around here, because to look around you have to move closer to the crater, right? It seems like Esmeralda was the deepest in here, so to really check if anyone else seems to be alive, you're going to have to make another one of those quick rolls. You can do it.
Probably
you can do
not.
it. If you think you can take a hit, you can do it.
I could take some of the hits, but not the big bad hits. So I think I'm going to stick to the safe zone as much as possible.
Okay. Well, with that in mind, let's go with... Is everyone then proceeding to this crack in the side of the wall to try and exit out of the remains of the cathedral?
If that looks like the safest exit, then yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. You make your way to the crack without incident. You can barely see outside because of the dust like floating in the air inside here. But you manage to start kind of like clambering down and dropping down to the outside. The cloud of dust and ash has settled even more. And as you drop down, who do we think would be let's say the first two people to drop down into the square?
I think
Askarai seems like a good bet.
Maybe
Aridar, sort of Steo. Steo's good too. Could we have a vigilant roll from Askarai and Steo, please?
That's right. I got a 1.
Nice.
Steo succeeded.
Okay. Steo kind of, as he drops down, both you up there and Askarai down can hear him go, "What's that?" Askarai, there is a trembling in the ground, and you notice two things at the same time. One is that even further south than you are, kind of sort of near the edge of the square, a fissure seems to be opening up in the ground. A crack that was already there, widening and crunching, and you can see what look like large figures making their way out of it as a plume of material kind of erupts around them. And also further to the west, entering the square from roughly the direction you came, you see what look to be a squad of armed and mounted panzers. Kind of emerging, the first sign you've seen of like authorities actually, arriving on the scene. I'll give you time for one to say a thing or to do a thing before events continue.
Is the fissure like a thing that would affect us? Is it coming towards us? It's just far away.
It doesn't look like it's fairly big. It's maybe about like 15 feet long, but it's quite. I'd say it's. Let me, let's actually see if this image. This image does actually have measurements here. So let me try and look. Oh, actually, on the image, it does run all the way to where you are. Never mind. It's actually about 15 meters long, and I would say it's stretching to near where you are, but not quite where you are. And the figures are emerging a good, almost at the other end of it, a good 12 or so meters ahead of you.
You said they're big. Are they the size of the giant guy, or
they look roughly giant sized?
Okay,
yes.
Bad news. Askra is gonna say, we need, look out. The ground is opening. Try and get on, and then gesture to whichever side the panzers would be on of this line.
It would be the west side. Yeah.
Okay. Would try and get to the right or get to the left, whichever side it is, based on where we're facing. To get everyone to that side of this fissure.
Absolutely. So you start doing that. I would say that Arindar and Anton are kind of coming down now, and probably Elindra and Revelia are climbing down more cautiously to try and get the Duchess down which you can do without any further problems. And as you are doing that, the Panzars see the giants emerging from this fissure in the ground. They give a very loud cry, and they charge directly at the Panzars with a rushing thunder. One of the giants hefts up an identical thick, long blade, and as the Panzars make contact, several of them their lances do impact into the bodies of the giants to greater or lesser degrees. But as they charge in, one of the giants gives a great swing round their head with the blade and cleaves directly through a Panzar and their horse, both of which fall into separate flopping halves on the cobblestones. The Panzar's charge kind of rushes them past, and the leader of the group, who's kind of almost stood on full from her saddle, is kind of wielding her sword, but kind of looking back in shock and disbelief at the remains of one of her group on the floor. But then they wheel round and re-engage. The Duchess is kind of watching this mouth open, kind of just in your arms, Elindra, and she kind of shouts, help them, help those poor souls. She then looks up at you, Elindra, and say, you are staying here though, are you not? You are my hero and protector.
We're trying to help you, my lady.
But please, they're dying. She seems to expect everyone who isn't Elindra to go help the Panzars. That doesn't mean you have to. I mean, if you're following the protocol of, Ambria, then an archduchess who is technically, she's first in line to the throne. Just gave you an order to go help the Panzars. Doesn't mean you have to, but of course, she might have certain views about that, or not, later on. You don't really know. You don't really know the Archduchess. You don't really know the Sun Duchess's mind. You know what I mean?
Elindra is going to catch the eye of anybody that she can catch the eye of in the party and just give a very, very slight shake of the head.
I think, I don't want to speak for Chris, I think Steo is already moving forwards. I think Steo is institutionally incapable of not following an order from Ambrian royalty.
I think also Chris/Steo has a bit of a death wish and maybe doesn't have the strongest sense of self-preservation.
That's
so
true.
Yeah.
And Askrai can join in without necessarily getting himself into a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I think Askrai might try and back Steo up if he's already going, but we'll probably say to the others as he's leaving, you guys are all hurt. please just like get out of here, and as soon as I can get Steo, we'll find you.
Stay safe.
Good luck.
Is that everyone then? So not Arendar, not Anton? Anton's not particularly hurt, is he?
True, Antom's okay.
I think Anton would be going.
To take on several giants?
I think Anton would try and help people in danger, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's not injured.
If at the very least he could cast Blessed Shield on people, I think he would
Steo
go.
in particular, I think he might be
Mm-hmm.
tempted by.
Arendar, okay. I will just put this. If you save the Sun Duchess's life and follow her orders, that's a hell of a patron for a potential reinstatement of House Dar.
Yeah.
I'm not saying do it. I'm saying that calculus is almost certainly in Arendar's head right now. Regardless of his... And he's also quite noble and like would want to help people. But regardless of that side of his character, I think that would be ticking over in his head.
Yeah, and I think Aaron is weighing up his chances of being able to engage along with a group and hence not get injured. Like he's weighing up his backstabbing abilities, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think
it's worth noting,
he's going to go for it.
I did say a Panzer was immediately like bisected by the 5 remaining Panzers. They're not just dying, like they are fight. The Panzers are the cream of the Ambrian military. They are not immediately dying to these giants.
How many giants were there?
I believe there are 2.
Okay.
Let me just double check that.
That's not as bad as I
thought. There are 2 of them. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think Aaron feels like in a fight on the same side as some of the Queen's Panzers might be one of the safest places to be.
Okay. Well, in that case, please give me some initiative. Obviously, it's going to be Aaron, Anton, Askarai, all the A's. Are you going to have giants in there? Do you need their things again, or have you got them? They're the same as Anton, as you said. So you could just add Anton before them. And let's at least try and put the Panzers where they should be. If I can just find their stats a second.
Steo's on that list as well, right?
Oh yeah, Steo is on that list as well.
Cool, because splitting the party worked so well last time.
Yeah, I don't think I immediately have any Panzer stats. I'm not going to roll for them anyway. I'm not doing that simmy thing that I did for a while anymore. Anyway, just add them at the end, like we do with NPCs. Just add them at the end, and I'll narrate how they're doing. Okay. So as you are on the approach to this, kind of like Steo is, I can imagine, is kind of jogging forwards, trying to get there before, many more of the Panzers are cut down. There is a roaring, howling noise from the ash cloud beyond where this tremendous conflict is happening. And the first you notice is a small swarm of orange glow through the dust cloud before several more of the fire-possessed swarm in to the conflict from the other side, attacking everyone. And it is now a complicated and grand melee. John, could you add Fire Possessed to the list, please? Regardless, Askarai, what are you doing? Like, you are now close enough to start firing, or loosing, I should say. What are you? Who are you loosing at?
The Panzers. Astra is going to shoot at whichever giant is closest I know it's going to be into melee, but if he's
will be into melee, but because they're large, like I'm going to allow it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think that's the rule. You need an angle, or they need to be large, or like for it to happen at all. But then it has the
it's a risk
roll. It still has the risk of roll a 20. And again, 20 doesn't mean you hit what you wouldn't want to hit. It means you hit anything but your target. So I'll make a random roll. You could hit the fire possessed. You could hit the other giant. You could hit the Panzers. At this stage, you won't hit your friends because they haven't charged in yet. But yeah. So you're firing at a giant. Are you using armor piercing or a double shot?
I'm going to use armor piercing. I will set it as the hunter's instinct target. Are giants cultured beings?
Yes.
Okay. That helps.
Although it's funny that you have the advantage here because you have no clue what these giants are. But still, yes. You know, they have roughly humanoid physiognomy. So.
Yeah. Okay, I get 2 tries. What is the roll?
It is at I believe a +1.
Okay, I need a 17 on that, so I have 2 chances. Okay, that's a 6, so that hits. And then it's a D10, 2D4 plus 1.
And it's armor piercing, right?
Yeah, armor piercing.
Yeah. Okay.
That's good. That's a 9 plus a 1 plus a 3 plus a 1, which is 14.
14. Well, let me tell you, that is definitely over its pain threshold. So, would you like another shot, or would you like to knock it prone?
If I take another shot, it's not armor piercing. I think in a big melee, being knocked prone would be pretty bad. So I'm going to knock it prone.
Yeah. Sure. Your arrow slams into the giant's spine, and it kind of arches its back and gives a howl of pain, a very loud howl of pain, before kind of dropping to one knee and then to the other. And it's kind of like half over on the ground, and you can't really see it now. There are horses. There's like mounted by the Panzers. There's the fire possessors. It's in the melee, but you think you've hurt it badly.
Nice.
Yeah. Arin Dar, you can run and enter combat if you want. I would say that you'd have to make a quick roll to get to the giants, because they're kind of surrounded by the Panzers, who are in turn sort of... It's not exactly this precise that it's giants, Panzers, fire-possessed, but it's certainly easier to get to the fire-possessed than it is to the giants. However, maybe you don't care about the fire-possessed. What do you want to do? But you have to make a quick roll to get to a giant. And if you don't make it, you're going to be engaged by a fire-possessed. Or you could just charge into the fire-possessed.
I think if I let these fire possessed through, they're most likely to hit the Panzers. So I might as well help the Panzers by trying to take out a fire possessed.
Sure, yeah. Incidentally, just so we're aware, Panzers, Ambrian Panzers are with an S, not a Z.
Aha! I will amend that after my turn.
Yes, that's fine. So
Farron
you're just going to charge into the fire possessed anyway, and Farron is with you.
Yes, Farron is with me.
Absolutely. In that case, engage a fire possessed and go ahead and roll them as flanked. I'm not. It's all kind of one melee, but I just deal with it one at a time, and then it makes, and then it kind of works. You know.
Oh my god! It was a flat plus flanked, right?
No. It will be mine. So you were flat. What's the flanked? A +2?
+2, I think.
It was a +1.
+1 overall.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's less humiliating. I failed.
Okay.
I rolled a 19. I needed 17.
Well, there we go. Is Farron not on this?
He is not. I forgot about him. He should have been before me.
Okay, well, you can go now. You can go now if you want. If you want him to attack the fire possessed that you're attacking, that's going to be a roll at a +1, just the same.
1 accurate 12 with a 3. That is a success.
Okay, do you want to roll damage?
Yeah, D8 4.
damage of 4.
And if
okay.
it procs, then he inflicts poison.
Okay. What is the poison he inflicts?
Poison, it says 2 for 2. So I don't know if that's 2 for 2 or D4 for D4.
It's D4 for D4, and you're playing him, so go ahead and roll a... Oh, I think poison doesn't kick in until their turn, though.
Right.
I know it doesn't. But go ahead and roll the number of turns.
It is 3 poison for 2 turns.
No, every time it procs,
oh, I see.
Roll it. So did you say 2 turns? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, poison for 2 turns. Then on its turn, you will roll it. I'm being fussy, although that's about to happen now. So we'll just take the roll you just rolled. So what did you roll? Sorry,
that was a 3.
A 3. Okay. So Farron manages to kind of skip in behind this fire possessed that's like flailing around with their limbs wildly and trying to like grab onto a Panzer's horse and set it aflame. And they kind of are stumbling and weaving a little bit more. So Farron has definitely affected it. How much remains to be seen. Okay, this round, I think, Aaron, we will have one more fire possessed engage with you. So if you could please make 2 defense rolls at I think it's just flat. Yes. 2 flat defense rolls, please.
Target 15. Oh my god, I rolled a 19. And a 15.
Okay. Are you re-rolling the 19?
I am.
Okay. So much XP spent.
I should not have done that.
Why?
Because I rolled a 20.
You don't take the re-roll, though. I think you can pick whatever one it is, right?
Do I? Is that?
I think so.
Then I will pick the 19.
I think if you spend the XP and then have to take the 20, that really sucks. Like it's bad enough to spend it and then fail.
I think you could. We're going to say that right now, so that's fine. In which case, roll your armor, please.
Are
you on like 1 toughness or something?
2. My armor was 8.
Okay, well, their fists do not affect you in the slightest. Can you roll your armor halved, please?
1.
Okay. So, I cannot believe you guys rolling tonight. This is awful.
He was on 2 HP when he started. That was bad news.
So, you basically don't see the other one coming towards you, and one of the fire possessed fists kind of slams you in the face, and you feel your the front of your lamellar scale erupt into flame. What?
Well, I succeeded 1.
Yeah, so? Do I not describe damage?
Nope, it's fine.
What?
I know, I understand. It's okay.
Okay.
Everything's fine.
It's okay. It's just, yeah. I don't know where I was now. So what? I don't know what you're confused by.
I'm not anymore.
Okay. Well, you've taken 2 toughness, so
yes,
you're down,
I'm on
right?
The floor. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Would have had some drama behind it, but never mind.
Right.
So I don't, because other people haven't reached the combat yet. I'm not going to have. Or shall I have fire possessed? You know what? Let's do it a bit. Steo and Anton, can I have quick rolls for them both?
Steo succeeds.
Are these completely flat?
Yeah.
Oh, Anton fails by 1. He rolled an 8.
Then that's fine. He's just going to have a fire possessed charge at him. So you can give me a flat defense roll for him, please.
Okay. That's a 17. That is a fail.
Okay. Then can you give me an armor roll for him, please?
That is a 1.
Okay. Well, then he takes 2 damage from the flailing fists of the fire possessed, which is my favorite power metal album. And he's also on fire, so can you give him an armor roll and halve it, please?
He rolled a 1.
Okay, so he takes 2 damage from fire. And can you give a d4 roll to see how long it's going to last?
Okay. That's a 3. So 2 more turns.
2 more turns. Okay. What's his toughness on?
6. I have a suspicion he might have already been injured. So I don't know that this is accurate because I don't have it.
Yeah, we just have to take it from... what we need to start doing is remembering what people are on, if they're NPCs or whatever. But, like, it's fine. It's fine. Let's just say he's on 6.
He could have healed up at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Steo, I'm going to say, is probably going to charge the fire possessed that stood over Arendar, the prone flaming form of Arendar. Can you make an attack against it at a -1, please, John, for his long?
Yes, which is actually a -13. No, a 13, sorry. Which is a fail.
Okay. Can you make his actual attack roll, please?
Yep.
The spirit of Mike is channeling through us tonight.
Nope.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Let's have Anton attack the fire possessed. -1.
I think, he is fighting. Can he cast spells while he's fighting?
Yeah, he can cast a spell instead, yeah.
I think he might try a Blessed Shield on himself, and I don't know if he can cast it on Aaron.
I mean, he can. He could definitely cast it on Aaron, but it's not going to do any good unless Aaron gets up or someone decides to just stab him full of holes while he's on the ground.
Okay, I think he's going to cast it on himself and on Steo, and then we'll try and heal Aaron if Aaron gets up.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Okay. He rolled a 6, so that does pass. And he now gets an extra D6.
Steo and him have a Blessed Shield. Okay.
Yeah. He's going to need it.
The conflict between the giants and the Panzars is continuing. You can see the Panzars are focusing their attacks on the giant who's kind of on his feet, even as the other one seems to be like sort of like lifting itself back up to its feet a little bit. You can see it has one of the fire possessed in like one hand, and there's a sickening kind of crunching noise as he collapses the front of this poor woman's face and neck before throwing her body to the ground. So the fire possessed are definitely fighting with the giants as well. It is an all-way brawl. Askarai, what are you doing?
I'm tempted to shoot fire possessed because they're more threatening to people, but I don't know if I can because they're small. So
I mean, there are extra number. There's more of them, and they're on the outskirts of the fight. I would say you can fire at any of the fire possessed. You can fire at fire possessed outside of the combat, but let me start again. Okay, I'll tell you what your targets are. You can fire at the less wounded giant, and it's firing into combat. You can fire at the fire possessed who aren't engaged with any of your friends, and it's firing into combat. I think those are the only targets you can have. You can also run in with your blade and engage the ones that are engaging your friends. You could try and help Arendar.
Has the wounded giant not stood up?
It's halfway stood up.
Okay.
You can see that it's getting back to its feet. It crushed that fire possessed, but it's not like up to the point where you can properly loose an arrow at it.
God, this is bad. I think
have you got any way you could help Arendar? Maybe.
I don't think I have. Wait, let me check my sheet to see if I have a. I don't have a.
You don't have a herbal cure.
I don't have a herbal cure.
I think this sequence of combats has been a lesson for the group in that everyone needs to have herbal cures.
Yeah. So I could shoot at. I don't feel like I can shoot anyone that particularly helps my friends.
I am going to make a judgment here. If you want to do this, I'm going to ask you for a quick roll if you want to make it happen. Right?
Okay.
Anton wears the Water of the Dusk on his belt. If you want, you can try and grab it from his belt, run to Arendar and douse the front of his flaming body with it, right? And like try and help him that way. But I would want a quick roll from you to well, I'll say either a quick or an accurate roll from you to which is neither of which are particularly amazing stats for you, I don't think.
No, I think they're about the same. They're both 10-ish.
It's up to you. If you make that roll and fail, you can still engage with your blade in combat with Anton. Or with the fire possessed attacking Anton.
The fire possessed that are over like Aaron's body. Could I engage them? Could I?
Yeah, you can run in with them. Steo is already fighting them. Yeah, you can.
Okay, I might go and try and
But it
fight
wouldn't
them.
help Aaron.
Yeah.
So I need to
But I think that's more like my quick is not that good. I think that is more likely to help him, Aaron, in the long run. Because even if he gets up, they might just hit him again, and then he's like even more.
I mean, yeah, all I'm trying to do is come up with ways for you to prevent him having to make a death roll as the very next action this turn.
Yeah, that is true. Okay, I'm gonna try do the quick thing to get him to Water the Dusk. This is not like I do have XP. I can try XP.
Okay, we'll roll your quick, and if not, you can still fight alongside Anton. You know.
Okay. Yeah. My quick is 10. That's a 20. I'm going to re-roll that.
You crush the Water of Dusk in your...
I throw it on a giant. I'm going to re-roll the 20. That's a 7. So that is a pass.
You grab the Water of the Dusk, scramble over to Arendar and tip it partly over the flames and partly like down his throat. Arendar, give me a 1d10. Is it a 1?
It's a 1.
I can't believe this. This is insane. Well, you don't have to make a death roll, but you're rolling around on the ground, burned and horribly wounded.
Hang on. How much XP do I have left? I have more XP. I'm going to spend an XP and try and reroll that.
Why bother? It'll just be a 1.
It probably will. It was a 4.
Well, you quadrupled your toughness. Well done, you. Yeah. How many drafts of Water of the Dusk is that now? I think we have
one left. We have one left. We've used 3 this session, and there were 4 to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay, Arendar. I mean, you're prone. Are you going to get up? Are you going to move away?
I'm going to attempt my quick roll to see if I can get up as a free action.
Sure.
Because of acrobatics. I succeed.
Okay. And now what are you going to do? You are engaged. You can choose not to be engaged. You can choose to like get up outside the combat. I'll be generous. But there is currently a combat between 2 fire-possessed, Ferren and Steo, that you are on the edge of. You can choose to either flip up and be engaged with it and immediately attack, or, not do that.
Oh my god. If only the corruption weren't so bad. I'm going to jump up and engage.
Okay. Are you going to engage the poisoned one or the unwounded one?
The poisoned one. Let's try and get it down as quickly as possible.
Okay. Then give me an attack roll at +1, please.
Okay. Target of 17. 15. That is a hit.
Okay. Give me give me a damage roll, please.
9.
Okay. You leap up and impale the fire possessed from behind with your blade. They give a kind of odd, flickering cry and crash down to the ground, dead. So there's that. And then there's Farron. Okay, everyone's just gone.
Hi.
Hi, Stephen.
How you doing?
Great.
Sorry, I had to stop the real life Farron from doing things.
Okay.
Farron is going to once again attack the poisoned one.
Well, they're dead, so
The other one.
Okay. That's an attack at +1. The one that's engaged with Steo and yourself. Yeah.
Yes, which is a success.
Okay.
And 7 damage.
That's pretty good.
And poison for 3 turns.
Okay. Yeah. Farron worries at the back of the neck of one of the fire-possessed rather convincingly, which is just as well because it's their turn now. So I'm going to say that the fire-possessed is going to attack Steo. So could we get a defense roll? I think just a flat defense roll from Steo, please.
He rolled a 1. So he gets a
counter attack. Yes. So roll an attack at +1.
Which is a success.
Okay, roll damage.
D10 +1, 9.
Okay, that's exactly what he needs. So his spear, it kind of leaps towards him, giving off odd little sputtering noises, and he takes a couple of steps back and thrusts out with his spear, and it goes through the fire-possessed's throat. Okay, is you still there, Sam? Yeah, you are. Could you give me a defense roll for Anton, please? Just a flat 1.
I think that's just a 4. No, a 7 or something. He rolled a 12. He does not make it.
Okay, then can you give me an armor roll for him, please? And don't forget the Blessed Shield as well.
Yeah. He has a D4 and a D6, which is a 7.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. The fire-possessed batter at him, but don't manage to penetrate through his Blessed Shield. Okay. You know what? I'm actually going to call the combat there. It's meant to run to the end of round 2, according to the book. But given that we only have like what are effectively NPCs attacking now, I'm just going to describe the rest of the battle. So a couple more fire-possessed kind of like move towards Steo and Anton, and the rest of you kind of like gather together and push forward and manage to cut them down. As you are doing this, the melee between the giants and the panzers seem to be building even further. That one giant that was wounded so terribly by Askarai is down on one knee again, kind of like weakly fending the panzers back with its wide blade, as seeming like a last-ditch attempt at fighting them off. 2 more of the panzers are crashed to the ground. One of them has been decapitated and their head lies a good 10 meters away from where you are now. The other one is kind of rolling around, groaning in pain, and looks to be perhaps able to get back to their feet once they're ministered to a little bit. The captain of the panzers, who is still up, kind of stood up in her stirrups, is desperately thrashing a longsword against the flat blade of the remaining giant that is standing tall, and they seem to be kind of like deadlocked in very direct duel as the fire-possessed swarm around them all. And then a thunderous roar rises over the crash site. The deep voice of what sounds like a troll It is very difficult to make out any words at all, but I will allow both players, neither of which are here, to make a cunning roll for their lore master.
Yep.
Anton, who's just finishes like flailing, has basically tried to knock out someone by hammering them in the face with the haft of his flail. As they crash to the floor, he kind of looks up and says, Symbaroum. That's Symbaroum. The sound makes the giants twitch, and they intentionally kind of like start heaving themselves backwards, trying to get away from the Panzer horses. A second shout, just as loud, this time in broken Ambrian, gives the Panzers a moment of pause. Lower weapons! A figure comes through the dust cloud on the side of the battlefield. Through a drift of fog and smoke emerges this fellow. Just as large as the other giants, but wearing Ambrian stitched clothing and with a binding around his eyes. To most of you, he looks really very different from the giants themselves. I mean, he is very reminiscent of them. Seems to be of the same people, perhaps. However, Arendar, could you roll cunning at a +3, please? Actually, I'll push it to +4. Nope. Do you want to spend on it?
I have spent so much already.
That's fine. You don't have to. I will just say that you feel like you recognize this individual, though you're not sure where from. Presumably, I've got him confused with many of the other huge giant individuals that you've encountered. You know what? You think you've heard descriptions of a giant man in Indaros. Let's just leave it there. As this figure strides forward, he grabs the remaining fire possessed that have spinned around and rushed ravenously towards him. It takes him a matter of moments to neutralize them with his bare hands, lifting them up one at a time and smacking them in the face with an open palm until their heads loll backwards and he drops them groaning to the ground. He walks between the Panzers and the giants, gestures to the giants that look so similar to him, turns to the Panzer captain. Leave to me, brothers, not fight. And I think we will end the session there. Exciting stuff. I cannot believe how badly everyone rolled all the way through that. I can't believe how fucked you all are. But never mind. But you know what? All that tells me is my efforts to make the combats more dangerous in this game have worked. So, there we go. As usual, check below for links to all sorts of stuff. Wednesdays is Symbaroum, Mondays is Massive Nylathotep, although it's on a bit of a early festive season break at the moment. I don't think it's on for the next 2 weeks, and then probably returning for a week or two after that before it goes off on full festive break. We don't know when the Symbaroum full festive break will be just yet. The week of Christmas, we won't be playing. I think is Christmas on Wednesday, in fact, this year. It might be. Yes, it is. But regardless, we're not doing it that week. We don't know what weeks we're taking off, so just keep an eye out on the Discord and the Twitter, and you'll probably find out. Questions, comments in chat as per usual. And John, if you want to start slinging them in, or if anyone wants to, does any of the players want to say anything about the traumatic events of this evening?
I have a question. What is going on? Who is anyone? What is happening?
Let me tell you everything.
This is mayhem.
I genuinely think that it is only luck that has meant that we haven't had sessions as bad as this before.
Maybe.
Like we've definitely had fights that could easily have gone this way, and we got lucky on those sessions, and we just haven't.
Yeah,
this time.
Yeah, and also like these sequence of fights have seen a real snowballing effect, right? To where Arindar runs up to like a generic maddened human possessed by an elemental and just fucking face plants on fire. So yeah.
Elindra is never going to take off her armor again if she lives to see another day.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, John, start flinging in those comments, please.
This is the most recent one, but I do have to show it first.
Okay. Ranadanger, I'm so mad nobody died. Yeah, well.
Not yet.
It's not for lack of trying.
Yeah. I wonder if like Arindar, if he gets like any more stamps on his knocked out card, whether he gets like a free head wound or something. I don't know.
Like a loyalty card.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think there's only so many times we can roll a death save before somebody at some point rolls a 20. It's gonna happen.
I was
Especially on a night like tonight.
Yeah, I was convinced I was getting a 20 for one of those ones. The way that everything else had gone.
But you know, it worked out fine. Question mark. Next. Rana again. Most knocking out is more just hurting someone enough for them to not fight back. Yeah, absolutely. And in real life, being unconscious is a horrible situation that you don't want to be in. Can I still be heard?
You can be heard. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, my camera's gone all weird. Let me Oh, well, that didn't work. Let me
I can still hear you.
Yeah. But then my cam isn't my mic, so okay. The cam is not happy.
At least it's after the session.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not happy. Never mind. Oh. It's okay. Iridescent Aria, what are the odds that the city is hit by meteors and attacked by fire demons just after the party arrives? It's all connected. I'm sure we'll find that out.
Everywhere we go, it just kicks off. I'm amazed that people are still pleased to see us.
Yeah, we're normally pretty bad omens.
Yeah. Yeah, my camera's... Oh, there we go.
Hey.
Go. Cam failed death save, yeah. Very much so. Next.
Let's have this.
Meteorite ignores armor. I mean, if you hit directly by it, yeah, probably. Ron Danger, fissures and sinkholes seem related, so you're probably the land's best experts in this field. Yeah. That sounds appropriate.
We are at this point effectively professional spelunkers.
Yeah. Especially when lizards are concerned. What we got next? 42. Matt is tired of these player characters. I mean, look, I am, but I'm still a professional, damn it. I even gave Sam the ridiculous snatching the healing tool off. You know? Because I care.
Very generous.
Because I care.
Oh, it was the one sort of saving grace of the session was that it was quite entertaining to watch the work that you had to put in to try to stop just short of a TPK.
Yeah. I mean, I've always said I will, like, if there's anything roughly believable, then like I'll let it happen to kind of like avoid player death. But I'll never hand wave it. Like, if the dice mean you're dead, you're dead. And that's
there's only so far you can kind of do a Deus Ex Machina, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The annoying thing is, I have some healing items, but they cause corruption. And if I use them, it means I would be rolling 1d4 corruption for 1d6 turns. And that's a lot of corruption for someone with a terrible resolute score.
Yeah.
What
What's
do
your
you
corruption
have?
threshold?
What
I
does
have
that?
2 elixirs. My corruption threshold is 5. I have 2 elixirs, which is normally 1d6 healing for 1d6 turns and 1 corruption per turn.
Oof.
But currently, that's 1d6.
That is an astonishing piece of character development waiting to happen, though.
Yeah.
So you could become corrupted even without being in this zone just by rolling a d6 for the number of turns it takes.
I could get yeah.
You wouldn't become an
Just
abomination,
but I would get a permanent corruption.
Yeah, the blight mark.
Yeah, you'd be blight marked and you'd get a permanent corruption. Yeah,
You would at the very least get yourself thrown in a dungeon the next time you ran into Disable.
Baumello, certainly, although that's the last of your troubles if you bump into Baumello again. Next, what we got?
I have my new favorite fan theory.
Sam, we were meant to die in the meteor strike and the universe is trying to realign. I saw someone say Final Destination Symbaroum style as well as a follow-up to that. So, yeah.
The dice seem to support the theory. Just saying.
They really did. They really did. Okay, folks. As far as I know, we're on next week. Hopefully with Chris returning. Mike is still out for the foreseeable future, as people have detected. I don't think that's changing anytime soon, but, you know, we live in hope of his return. He does intend to return in good time, but life is in the way. So, thanks for watching. Thanks to my players for playing. Thanks to them for rolling such terrible dice. And we'll be back next week for more adventures adjacent to TPK. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.